Okay, I'm just gonna regular, oh, it is starting. Okay, guys, let's go through this. So Apple, get this out of the way. Why isn't this letting me? Okay. Um, so the daily on that, yeah, I mean, that looks like a possible evening star on the daily. So that's what I would be thinking it's probably gonna do if I look at it. So I think that's a decent pattern to review out of the gate and see what's up. So I'm gonna write that down. And then we've got everybody's favorite, not really, just mine. Amazon, that could also be a good pattern. They're all probably going to look fairly similar, all the Q stocks. Um, I got Apache, which is this energy company. That's got an inside candle, and it can have some big range. So I'll put that down just because it's a smaller energy company. That's one I'd probably just buy the stock on. Boeing, what do we have? Yeah, it's done like that pivot machine gun down. That I guess that's kind of a wait and see because I this kind of chart I can't really discern, right? Like there's nothing that jumps out at you. I'm going to put the daily chart bigger too so we can see it. And we got Baba. That's not a bad setup on Baba, but a lot of times when you see, you got the hammer up, you got this guy, you get one like this. The next candle oftentimes is a shooter back down. So it may be one of those deals where it jumps in the morning and then sells off. I see that a lot. What's that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Baba can be nuts. No, I mean, it's kind of, you got this double bottom thing, bottom of the broadening formation, right? And you can see the broadening formation here so easily. It's so clear, right? You just draw it to here and then you grab the other. Where'd my toolbox go? I'm just going to clone this. I just want people to be able to see, and it's not cooperating. Heck. Okay, here we go. And then the top, like usually that's awfully high up. So on something like that, I'm gonna cut off the top end of it when I draw it, and I'm gonna do it to that candle. So to me, that's a beautiful chart. If this whole thing with Biden, I know they're still trying to Trump's still trying to fight it, but assuming he gets in, I would think Baba would take off too. Like that could be a fantastic swing because he's got a very different attitude towards China than Trump did. So that I mean that could be a really beautiful trade. I'm gonna put that on the list. And it's been moving a lot lately. There's times where it just kind of goofs around like it did over here, but what's that? Yeah, so what I do every night is go through these daily charts, and depending on what's going on in the daily, then I'll look at monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever else I need to get more information. And then in the morning, for the quicker morning trades, I drill down to what looks like it's setting up the best. Because you can form in the morning when you have information about where stocks are, you can kind of see where that candle may go. So you kind of have a plan on what to do. So that's the goal. Darn it. I looked at Beyond. I wouldn't have been able to trade it because my internet was down, but you see that? You're going to see this everywhere now, guys. Hammer, shooter, boom. To me, they're almost like inside candles. It's just a point of consolidation where it didn't do anything. Huh? Yeah. Yes. And also, it's going to change my, yeah, I'm going to draw the, this line is messing me up. Let me grab this other tool here. Why does it keep doing this? But look at that pivot machine gun right there too. You see that? I mean, now, yeah, now when you train your eyes, you're going to see this stuff everywhere. You're going to see triangles everywhere. You're going to see um, pivot machine guns, and it's at the bottom of the triangle. Even if I only drew the top piece to there, right? Usually I like to draw it starting at a 3 candle, but right there, there's not one. So that's how I usually draw these things. Let's talk about it after just so we can get through this. And I'll be interested to know. Oh, that's okay. So cat, we have an inside and down candle. Um, I mean, possibly tomorrow. I'm gonna put, so what I do is I make like, okay, these are really good ones, and I make like possibilities. So yeah, if it goes down again, you're absolutely right. Yep. Yeah, you got it. No, 100%. You're seeing this stuff. When you can see what's possible and not there, what does the weekly look like on it? We're red on the week. What do we look like on the monthly? Yeah, what I'm trying to see is how much room would we have to go to make that red? So we'd have to, yeah, we have to go from 180 down to 172. That's not too bad. I'm just gonna mark that on the chart, the bottom wick here. Uh, Change my color because I use orange for monthly, so I know what's going on. Sync to all charts, and then back to one daily. Okay, so CGC, that looks like a continuation to the downside to me, you know. But I'm just gonna look through because I really want to see if we can get some really good setups. That might not be bad because if it kind of opens, I haven't traded the pot stocks in forever, so I don't know if they open flat usually or if they gap. I guess they still gap at times. It hasn't lately, but your magnitude's here, right? Yep, it's at the top of the broadening formation. So yeah, that could be, and then you kind of got pivot machine gun-ish. It's not perfect looking, but um, let's put that on the maybe list. Chewy is setting up for a pivot machine gun back down. I mean, look at that. But don't fight the trend, right? Like it hasn't given us any kind of signal. Um, so I'm just going to write also, I should get a separate notebook and just mark down charts that we like for, because this is something you could swing. You know what I mean? When we get that signal and it's crossed that 100 mark that I told you it would get to. And sometimes when they hit that goal, then they just crap out for a while before they come back up and retest. So Chewy, yeah, that's common. Well, yeah, that's what stocks do on all time frames, right? Like they that's just the nature of the markets, you know. I think the hardest thing as a newer trader is just understanding a lot of the things that scare us and we jump out of is just normal movement, you know, of a stock. Crowd could be a decent pivot machine gun, not right at this minute, but when it gives us some kind of sign, it could keep going for ever if it wants to. D-Dog, that's interesting. Sometimes with the, so that's a gap over an inside candle on the daily. And that's a decent sized gap. I mean, sometimes you'll see that, that's evening star-ish, or 122-ish reversal. So I don't know. I don't think that's the best of DraftKings. I wouldn't either. Somehow I missed the bottom of the try on that one, which is stupid. Facebook, it's a bunch of chop. I don't, I don't know. I'm not overly thrilled about that right now. I mean, it could easily go down. That the wicks getting slapped look kind of bearish to me, but this pattern is really just a consolidation pattern, but it has that big bottom wick. So that's like see what it looks like on a 2-day chart. Interesting. On a 2-day, it just looks like see, this is why like switching what you're looking at really helps, because if I look at the 2-day, it looks like it could possibly be somewhat bullish. We had a candle that tested and then kind of closed in the middle, didn't really do anything. And a lot of times you'll see the next day it's followed by a nice up candle. So, but I don't think tomorrow's the day for that one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could change tomorrow, but there's nothing. If we're talking about trading being a game of odds, then we do want the high probability. FedEx is going to pivot machine gun back up to this point, it looks like, or it's going to try. Where are we at on the week with this guy? Because it's down on the week. So how much do we need to? It's not probably not going to take the week out, but to the upside, because that it doesn't have a ton of range. Let's see, check its range real quick for FedEx, because I think it's only like 4 points or 3 points. Oh no, it's a lot more than I thought. It's $8.30. Like it won't. It could. I mean, it can have some really ginormous days. So I'll just put that in my maybe category. Um, and what I'm going to do in the morning is I'll run through all of these again, because some days you go through and it's glaringly obvious which ones are correct to take, and sometimes it's just a little iffy. This makes me so mad because I got in a call on it, but I should have bought the following week expiry. I mean, I ended up making a little bit of money, but it wasn't anything exciting. But this, look at this, guys. Like, this is beautiful. That is, I mean, I didn't know enough. Well, actually, no, I should have known in November, but um, if we could, this is pivot machine gun at its finest right here. And if you can get that on the weekly, and then what you can do is look at what's the average to range, what are the possibilities of how much it would move in a week, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, is it going to take a month, 2 months, 3 months to get back up there, and you can buy, you know what I mean, like depending. So okay, so go. Hmm, that's interesting. Inside candle up, pivot machine gun down, back, and that inside candle isn't super massive like this guy at the top. Um, so I'm gonna throw that on there. Why not? This one is a really low price guy that moves. I mean, if you draw a triangle right here, you can see it's at the bottom of the triangle. But I mean, there's potential bearishness there, right? Because of what we're looking at. But this is a one up. Yeah, and that could change tomorrow depending on where we open. This thing doesn't gap a lot. Yeah, and this one because it doesn't really gap a ton. Like it's an easier play that way. And it can, I mean, look at some of these candles from time to time. You can get some huge range on it. They have good options on it too. Or at least they were good like a few months ago. People were trading it all the time. So here's Home Depot, and I'm kicking myself on that because I looked at this candle and then didn't pull the trigger to pivot machine gun it back up. That was really stupid. So yeah, that's a beautiful setup had you gotten in even after the inside candle, but we didn't, so I wouldn't really touch it now. This could be a turning point to pivot machine gun back up. So let's just keep this on an eye on this because it can move pretty decent. And the options aren't too bad on it. So if it chooses to, because that could be a decent setup right there. So we'll keep that on the list. Not necessarily for tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to review it. Okay. Yes. So my candle setting, I have one that highlights like ha- it is Chris Moody's. Yeah, Chris Moody's one, and I have inside candles and pin bars turned on. Like they call these hammers a pin bar, and I guess there's some criteria for exact measurements on the body and all of that. So it's just they really stand out to you. It is typically. I mean, you saw Home Depot, right? Look at that. It wasn't quite like that, but yeah. Yep. Oh no. See how Price does this all the time? Shoot her down, hammer up, or they all the time. See that? It's everywhere. And this I actually looked at last night, but I don't even know. I'm not a huge fan of biotech, so I don't even know if I should keep it on there, but I do anyway. Look at IWM. Talk about pivot machine gun. At some point in the future, whenever that is, tomorrow, 2 years from now, I don't know, that's going to be a beautiful setup. I've got to keep a log of this stuff so I don't forget. IWM, pivot machine. Um, yeah, yep, it just skyrocketed. Oh my gosh, absolutely. IWM was such a dud for a while, you know? Ooh, you're gonna get that confidence next year. You are. It's gonna happen. You're in a safe environment and we're all cool people and it's gonna happen. Look at this. I like this. I really like this. JKS can go inside day, JKS. So so on the upside, I mean, your first magnitude would really be the top of this candle and then this candle. So that's not a ton, but look at this wide open deal here. I mean, that's a void really if it starts to go into it. You know, and that's a pivot machine gun because you got shorts right here. And if someone got short, I don't know, here, they may be bag holding because it hasn't hit their stop. Their stop's going to be somewhere up here. And then what happens is as buyers start to gain interest, then shorts start freaking out. And that's why you see price take off massively because there's some real buyers, but shorts are getting killed. So that could be setting up for it. We'll watch and see. It could also go back down, but because they're, you could draw it with your mind's eye. Yeah, broadening formation, 100%. Yeah, this thing can move. I think I traded it a couple times, but I think I only bought the stock. I don't think I bought the options. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, if you draw your broadening formation, you're right near the bottom on an inside day. That's my favorite setup so far. Uh, JP Morgan. Oh, that's interesting. We got a rev strat right there. A 1, 2, 3. I kind of like I should probably just take JP Morgan off because I never trade it. I think I just like to know what the financials are doing. Kimberly Clark I had on because for a while it was great. Now I think I'm taking it off because it's just dumb right now. So, yeah, it's at it for now anyway, right? So now Lowe's is interesting. It's mid-range on the broadening formation, but you've had kind of a couple days of consolidation here, and you've got this set up to the upside to take everybody back out. That's actually kind of pretty, and it's not as far along as Home Depot was. Like Home Depot just went straight up, and Lowe's has decent options. Um, yes, I mean your initial magnitude, if you look left, I mean we're really, I mean at least to here, it could have a real nice day tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. I mean it's normally I don't overly love like kind of being mid-range like that, but it's had enough of triangle layouts. There's one here, there were a couple days and it consolidated, so I don't, I have a hard time getting into stocks when they're just up, 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 which, because for me personally, I feel like every time I do that, it somehow does not go that way. So I need to work on that because in Lulu, I had that as one of our setups on Monday. I don't know if you guys remember. Yeah. And because of this red candle and seeing the pre-market, like what it was doing, it just bums me out that I wasn't able to trade. Yesterday it was fine, but then when you're like the next day I can't because my dumb internet isn't working. Nothing I like there. Microsoft could be interesting because if this is the start of a reversal, like a 2-2 reversal, and there is some magnitude, you know. Uh, yeah, Amazon is similar. That it's the most beautiful when you have one of those shooter cam like doji type of candles at the top because this has got kind of that body. I mean, really, if it starts coming down, you'd take it here, right? And your magnitude would be here, ideally. I mean, it can get caught up in some of this other stuff, but if it's some of these setups, like it's just going to go to the magnitude of that previous candle. So we'll put Microsoft down. Um, Netflix. Nah, that's gone too high. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I think it's going to keep going, but I'm not willing to screw around with that right now. I'm just not. Um, and that, some traders say when something's doing this, you jump on board and you just keep riding it. But like I said, somehow the day I do it, it changes. Um, it's moody. She's kind of a you know what sometimes. It could. Yep. I like these kind of setups right here. I think Sarah actually took this one, but with Netflix, that's that's mostly, if I'm going to trade it, that's mostly what I'm going to be looking at because their options can be really good, but they can be really wonky at times too. Neo, here goes Neo back up. Let's see what it needs to take the month because that's the thing. If there's a magnet for it, then oh yeah, it's not too far, is it here? Let's see, 52 to 57, and what is Neo's? Neo's average true range is 428. So yeah, this could easily take the month. Let me just see. That's the weekly rate, yeah. Oh, sorry, I gotta change my color. So I know where the monthly is. There's a script that does this for you, and I had it on there, but I don't, it saved me time, and that's good, but like, I need to touch and see and feel the charts for them to be kind of cemented in my mind, if that makes sense. I Okay, because you train your brain and then you can really see these things quick, you know? I don't like that at all. NVAX, whoa, I did look at that last night. That's another 2-2 reversal or, like a morning star type of pattern. You remember how I told you that is one of the most powerful things? You're seeing it now, right? So powerful. So, and it's high probability too. I, yeah, this thing can move. The only reason I have them up there is a couple things, and I'll go over that in just a minute. Remind me once we get to the watch list, and I'll tell you. Yeah, I don't use them as okay. I'm taking my trade here, but I do use them kind of as my in my mind trend line. Um, Now this is a decent. It does. There's a 2 day. Okay, let's look and see what we need to take it out on the monthly. Because NVIDIA, as we all know, can just fly. Yeah, she's moody too. No, she like day trading her is, I'm telling you, Amazon is 52,000 times easier to trade than NVIDIA. It's it is so clean most of the time. It's unreal. That's the only reason. Well, and I paper traded it for quite a while, so I formulate, okay, how am I going to handle it if it goes against me and all that kind of thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's taking a month. Unless something really crappy happens, right? That's not, yeah, I think so too. So that's going to be a top watch. NVIDIA. Yep. Yeah, it really looks like it. It kind of like had a nowhere thing and then it looks like it's trying to go. We got a low, a high, a lower low. Is that higher? It's a little bit lower. And this is like a higher, more mature low. Um, this didn't get higher, but it could easily go tomorrow. So we'll definitely watch that. Overstock, I saw that broadening formation too and ignored it, which that's one of the things for the new year. I've got to just make myself do, when you see these setups, just take them and don't be scared about it. And with Overstock, their options are kind of crappy, so I would have just bought the stock and, if it goes a little bit against you, I don't, big deal. Um, so yeah, there's your broadening formation there, and it could bust out, but that's a triangle day out. I wouldn't want to necessarily do that tomorrow. Um, I looked at this last night too, but this doesn't have good options. Paycom. And tomorrow, huge day. No, I don't think so. PDD, that had its little gig on Tuesday, it looks like. Um, so that already kind of made its deal. I mean, the scale is going to be, the magnitude could potentially be up here, but maybe it's going to stop here and it's reach magnitude. So that's not what I'm really looking to do. Pen is going to be another great, yeah, another great machine gun at some point, not now. The thing is with like newer traders, and I think I thought this too, you see stuff going up, you're like, I'm gonna short it, I'm gonna short it, and you don't mess with stuff that's on a tear, right? You just don't. You wait until there's that signal. P time is gonna be a machine gun at some point. I mean, usually when you see just that straight up, you got some shorts in there being squeezed. Qs straight up, and gappy, and this candle's up but not overly strong, you know? It's kind of like, okay, here we are, but who knows? Not trading that tomorrow. Roku, interesting. That could be a rub strat. That's going on the list. CRCL. You know what? I've looked at it, but I don't think the options were so good. It is inside day. What's the range on it? Because that's a bigger inside candle. The wicks are than I'd like to see. Um, the range is 3 points. How big is this candle? 72.60 to 74.44. So that's like 2/3 of its range. So if unless it like gaps or, you'd have to wait most of the day to make like a magnitude of here initially on the downside. We can definitely keep an eye on it, you know, during the course of the day because this could be a bottoming thing. We don't have enough information. I mean, it did, the thing I do like about this, just trying to help you guys know what to look for, is you got a low, see how the lows keep getting higher and higher? But the highs haven't yet, but we'll see. Uh, well, but here's the thing with reversals, right? Like I don't really use it necessarily for that. It's more like to see like a moving trend line because it has to start somewhere. So like if it opens, I don't know, higher up, because that body on the candle, see how tiny it is? That's a potentially good thing because if it opens, let's say here and starts going up, then you've only got, how much is that? 73.89. Yeah. And sometimes because other traders exclusively use moving averages, you know how that goes. It can attract that. Yeah. And I'm just talking about it a little more only to tell you what I think when I'm looking at it, because that's the main key is just to, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Holy smokes. We gapped up that much today? This is silver. I was thinking I was looking at SPY. That's so funny. I was looking at silver down here too, and it just was so like, nah. The price action on that is not pretty at all. I never took it. It's ugly. I'm gonna take it off my list because I think it's a waste of time. SPY, I wouldn't probably do that, but it's gonna hit 375 though. I mean, it's at 372.24. or I would think it would, or at least test it, you know. Um, it looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, T-Doc. I There was someone I was talking to about this setup last night too, when we were going. Yeah, because we were looking at morning stars, right? And I said this is for 2-2 reversal. I mean, that worked out beautifully. Low, high. Yeah, this looks that looks like a good chart. Like you look at the broadening formation on that, and that one could be a decent swing. It really could. I hate this line. I meant to grab the other one. Right? I mean, that's a lot. Depending on what happens tomorrow, the only thing, like, if you miss like this deal, I'm hesitant to take a swing, if it's going to blast way up right away because you're going to have, I mean, look at the stock, it's volatile. So chances are, and there are times where it's had big green runs, but not lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to get into trades right as they triangle out, not when they start, but when it's apparent they're gonna go back in your favor. You want to buy it like right there, because otherwise you've missed a lot of the potential, at least with options. So this to me is just a bunch of consolidation, um, but it could keep pivot machine gunning down too. So I'll just put that as something. Target doesn't have a ton of range. Like, not every trader's like this, but I get bored kind of trading some of the stuff. Like I like stuff that moves. Oh yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Another 30 minute. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah. Here's the all that consolidation where price did nothing. I mean, it. Looking at it here, let me go back to the daily real quick. See, the really cool thing about the Strat is when you've been around it long enough, I can look at like a 5 minute chart, and I know what the hourly is doing. I didn't think that would ever be possible. Like Rob would say that, and I was like, this is so complicated. But because it's so repetitive, you really, yeah. So if it, I don't know, I'm going to put it on the maybe list because this is one that, let me look at the weekly and the monthly. Could be a real nice trade back up to 181, area. That would be my ultimate, if I was swinging it, that would be my, and I'm talking like a longer swing, like 30, 60 days. So on the weekly, it's forming that bottom wick. So yeah, we'll see because it forms that bottom wick and you could easily get a green week the next couple weeks, That could be nice. Oh, there's one other thing in TrendSpider that they have that I should have looked at and I didn't. They have a chart of a stock's movement by month, and it will tell you what months of the year it usually makes the biggest run and the percentage of the time that that's true. It's pretty cool, huh? So let's see if I had actually bought that overnight swing. I would have been, oh my word, I would have, that's insane. I mean, I'd be up thousands. Yeah, and Tesla is one that I will take on those types of setups because this thing, and it doesn't overly scare me because I mean, time after time, it just ramps. And the charts look different because of the split. Like these candles used to be huge on the run up because they were kind of different, but that's one that it doesn't bug me. You know, as far as breakout setups go, um, you just got to make sure if you take that, obviously you're, you know, being patient and waiting for the right entry. I don't really like Visa, so I'm taking that off my watch. Walgreens Boots Alliance, weekly. It's Walgreens. Like why is it Boots Alliance? Like what does that mean? Right? It's weird. It's just bizarre to me. So, okay, it's crazy, right? So this could do a compound outside bar to the upside potentially. It ain't gonna take this out, you know, the weekly out tomorrow. I mean, there's no way that's gonna happen. Let's see what it looks like on the monthly. Yeah, the monthly isn't too pretty. But this is this kind of chart, like on a monthly with the right signal. Oh my word. You and it's so dang cheap. You just buy whatever amount of shares and you just throw them in your account and forget about them for a year. I mean, you know, because it's worth half of what it is. And I don't really see Walgreens going out of business, you know. And this candle, we are what? Just mark that out on the monthly because that's an important level to me. Sync double charts. Okay. See what it looks like on the daily again. Yeah, I actually, I mean, the more I'm looking at it, I don't kind of mind it. That inside candle. Yeah, and that'll start all over again tomorrow. So we'll have to see, you know what I mean? It could be, yeah, yeah, every morning it resets. Yeah, it's all going to reset tomorrow. Yeah, based on, because all it is reporting the number of transactions at any price point. That's all it is. So it's kind of telling you what's going on inside the candle. Um, so it did. So let me look at it on the. Yeah, and again, the reason that it's a good guideline is because it's it is the candles in a different format. You know what I'm saying? Like it is the market 100%. You are spot on. Yeah, that's beautiful, right? Big void over strat setup. I mean, every these kind of trades. So you get your strat setup, right? This is almost like I would probably say a 90% probability trade if you take it something like that. You know, I probably would have waited maybe till it's over that point of control. But oh yeah, I wasn't even looking at it. I mean, but you have yesterday's close, which is very normal for a stock to go down and test it. Very normal. Happens all the time. You've got a big void. You have a perfect strat setup, right? That happens a lot. And people look at it like it's a bad thing. Yeah, that happens a lot. A lot between, oh yeah, all the time. A lot between 12:30 and I'm trying to think in Eastern time because I do everything in my head on Central. Yeah. Like 11 to me, 11:30 oftentimes to 1:30. There, I mean, certainly stocks can move at that time. If they're moving, they're going to move. But I tend not to trade between those hours unless it's just one of those days where all day stuff's rolling, forever. Yeah, and something, this is your friend. The reason is it's like a giant inside day on the fire, that's what this is. This is an inside candle, you know. And again, like when your mind can create the picture that you need to have by looking at the candles because you've looked at them enough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna check it out because it's near the bottom of the range. But here's the other thing that just, and Ray, you know this. I mean, yes, we definitely have the Strat single, but it's gonna make it stronger because it came down and tried to bust through the close. So yeah, you've got that. You've got above point of control. You got a Strat set up. I mean, you got four things in alignment. Those are trades that you want to just hit. Yeah, you could have gotten in here. Yeah, I mean, you got this too. You could have gotten in here. That wouldn't have been the greatest. Although, like to me, I wouldn't have stopped out and have gone here because it did not. That's why I have the nine on. It's just and oftentimes, like Walgreens, it doesn't have a lot of range, so I probably would only give it to the nine. But I kind of use like the 20 on the 5 minute for stocks that move more as my stop loss. And the 20 and the nine, yeah. And the only reason I have the nine up is the nine can be helpful because you know how sometimes when it does this, you're just not sure like what it's going to do. Yeah, and you'll see a strat setup, but you're like, is that really going to go because it just chopped around? When you see, yeah, and when you see this, like when it crosses over your golden, it's going to go. So I don't use it. So let me make this bigger again so you can see. Nine, yep. Yeah, and so I just use it as kind of like a point of reference. It's not like so the 20 when I was with Warrior Trading that I'm not a big fan of, there was one guy in the chat room that was a really good trader and he shared in like some kind of presentation that he kind of used it as a stay in the trade on the five, and I mean it works. You cannot look at those super fast time frames and stay in a trade. You'll flip. It looks so crazy. And like if you're looking at the 15-second trying to stay in a trade, it ain't gonna happen. I use the 15-second for two things: entries and trying to get us an edge on where it's gonna go before it fully materializes. Yep, yep. And really, like with the 15-second, it's very, very good when things are moving. So like in the morning, but sometimes if you try to look at it in the afternoon, it can be because there's not as much price action. Stock like Tesla, it's going to have price action all day because it's people trade Tesla like constantly, right? So let me look at the daily on this one. Oops, I just switched my chart. Oh, interesting. Let's see. I haven't tried. Oh, that's pretty potentially. You seeing what I'm seeing? Yeah, yeah, it is pretty. Yeah, I mean, potentially. Either way, really. Yeah, I'm just looking at this guy. Oh, which chart? I'm looking at the daily. Yeah, because one of the things I want to do is, I mean, you can make some wonderful money day trading for sure, but when you have some swings on that you know where your target is and it's a strong company, I mean, this could be a perfect setup because again, you've got a higher low, a higher low, a higher low. We don't have the higher highs yet, you know, but this to me has a good possibility. We got to see tomorrow, but that could be lovely back to the upside. Let's look at the monthly on it. Monthly and weekly. How much do we need to take these guys out? Well, we're not going to take the weekly out tomorrow. There's no way. So we don't really, you know what? I am going to mark it though, because next week I'm going to want to know, get rid of this darn thing, where it is. Um, and my weekly, oh wait, it hasn't closed yet. My brain is stupid. Okay. I shouldn't say that to myself. I'm sorry, self. So yeah, wow, we'd have to go a long way. Not No, not necessarily. You know, the only thing that's got me a little wonky right now is they keep saying they're going to pass the stimulus deal, and it still hasn't happened. So that concerns me. But typically, the some of the biggest months of the year are December and January. February is generally not a good month in the market. Like it's typically just a crappy sell-off month, and you've seen that the past few years. You know, um, yeah, February is just not a good month. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, no, no, you gotta, that's the thing, you gotta, yeah, oh yeah, you gotta have pre-market on so you know what it's doing going into, what volume's been like, price action's been like going into the open. Um, like mid-range on the volume profile. You know what? I do have something I've been studying on that helps you look at like day-to-day volume profiles. I haven't got my hands around it yet, only because I discovered this and that's working. It's something I will get up to speed on just so we can, why not have an extra tool? It's a little more complex though, you know? There is. I have a whole like thing to study on it. And I was up, I think on Monday, I don't know, whatever night I just stayed in here and kept studying stuff. And I should have just quit because you're so tired by then, you're not really absorbing the info. Wow, look at wind. That's crazy. Um, so this chart, this could be decent for a long because that wasn't that was just at least right now. That's just the little consolidation, like the little triangle layout. It's not even a big candle, you know. I mean, you could all it could always reverse and go the other way, and then you could have a pivot machine going back down. But we'll see where that is. Yeah, let's look at the weekly. Oh yeah, wow, that's a big candle. Oops, I don't want 3 months. No, it really doesn't. It's the bottom of the try still. Wynn used to be somebody, you know, and Biden's friendly to China, and they have a ton of stuff over in China. So that would, oh, look at this, an XLV, a healthcare, the monthly. That is just, we have this little inside month. Yeah, this could be a really decent swing trade too, depending on how what happens with, on a monthly, depending on how that breaks. I mean, that's the thing about the strat. Like it took me a while to, Rob would always say, hey, it works on every time frame. But the longest time, like I couldn't see it on the smaller time frames. And now I see it. Everything I look at is strat. I mean, aren't you glad that you came over here, Ray? Like it's exciting, right? Oh my gosh, huge. XLV, that thing is just a runner, huh? We'll have to see where that inside month. How much range does this guy have? XLV, a buck 30. So that's not bad. Um, if it's on a little run, it could go up there, tomorrow even. Look at Zoom. Get these lines up. Yeah, Zoom could be decent tomorrow. I mean, because you kind of have this deal right here where you've got a low, a high, a higher low. You haven't formed the higher high yet, but that's a small candle. Your initial magnitude is going to be to about there. So how many points is that? Is it, what was it? Number 408 to 420? Yeah, and your next magnitude would really be here. I mean, that might be a decent setup tomorrow because this isn't an inside candle, but it's a small candle. I mean, look how big most of the candles are. So that's one you could play either way on the break. So I like that for tomorrow. All right, and that's the end of my list. Do y'all have any that you want to look at real quick? Yeah. Yeah, I think we have enough to work with tomorrow. So say a prayer that my internet works. And I